your daily dose. Like and subscribe.
Did you know Kobe Bryant secretly studied ancient samurai meditation techniques throughout his entire NBA career? It all started when he discovered Musashi's Book of Five Rings during his early Lakers years. The legendary warrior's philosophy completely transformed his mental approach to basketball. Every morning at 4 a.m., Kobe would practice samurai breathing techniques in complete silence. He called this mental state his Mamba mentality, but it was actually pure Bushido philosophy. When career-threatening injuries struck, he applied samurai principles of discipline and fearlessness. Instead of breaking, he became stronger, using meditation to overcome physical pain. Kobe credited these ancient practices for helping him win all 5 championship rings. Before every single game, he performed a specific visualization technique borrowed from samurai warriors. He would imagine himself as a blade being forged in fire, becoming sharper with each challenge. Today, countless athletes copy this exact pre-game ritual without knowing its true origins. The Black Mamba's greatest weapon wasn't his fadeaway shot, it was an ancient warrior's mind. Did you know a night security guard once exposed the largest murder scheme in nursing home history? Nathan Rodriguez worked the graveyard shift at Sunset Manor, making his rounds every 2 hours like clockwork. On March 15th at exactly 2:15 a.m., he witnessed something that changed everything. 3 nurses were injecting elderly residents with massive doses of insulin while they slept. He watched in horror as they moved from room to room, targeting specific patients. Nathan discovered they were killing residents with valuable life insurance policies, making the deaths look natural. 89 seniors had already been murdered for insurance payouts. He secretly documented everything, photographing victim lists and recording staff meetings. When administrators found out, they tried framing him for drug theft and threatened his family. Despite assassination attempts, Nathan gathered enough evidence and presented it to homicide detectives. His testimony led to life sentences for 12 staff members involved in the conspiracy. Today, Nathan works as an elder abuse investigator, his courage having stopped a genocide hiding within healthcare. Did you know that one office worker discovered his company was literally poisoning hundreds of employees to save money on heating bills? Oliver Martinez worked as a file clerk in a 12-story office building in downtown Chicago. Every day, he processed routine maintenance records and vendor invoices. But in March 2019, he stumbled across something horrifying. Hidden in a stack of HVAC documents were chemical delivery receipts. The building owners had been pumping industrial solvents through the ventilation system instead of proper heating fuel. Carcinogenic compounds were flowing through every office, every cubicle, every break room. Cancer rates among employees had tripled in 2 years. When Oliver tried to report it, the owners offered him $50,000 to stay quiet. Instead, he broke into the building at night and collected air samples. He presented the evidence to federal investigators, knowing he could face prison time. The owners were convicted of reckless endangerment and fraud. Oliver lost his job but found his calling as an occupational safety inspector. His courage saved hundreds of lives. Did you know that one pilot's failed mission nearly triggered World War III? On May 1, 1960, CIA pilot Francis Gary Powers was flying his U-2 spy plane at 70,000 feet over the Soviet Union. At that altitude, he believed he was completely untouchable. His mission was routine, photographing secret military installations deep in enemy territory. Then suddenly, the impossible happened. A Soviet SA-2 missile slammed into his aircraft. Powers plummeted from the sky, his plane disintegrating around him. KGB agents were waiting when he hit the ground. They had been tracking him the entire time. For days, they brutally interrogated him in a windowless cell, demanding every detail about American spy operations. His capture exposed decades of secret missions and canceled the Paris Peace Summit. The world teetered on the brink of nuclear war. For 2 years, Powers rotted in Soviet prison, abandoned by his own government. Finally, in 1962, they traded him on a bridge in Berlin like a piece of property. One man's mission became an international crisis that changed the Cold War forever. What if the CIA's MK-Ultra brothel program had never been shut down in the 60s? Instead of ending, imagine it expanded nationwide, creating hundreds of government-run establishments. Civilians would unknowingly consume psychoactive drugs while their psychological breakdowns were secretly recorded. Prostitutes became federal agents, gathering intelligence on unsuspecting clients who thought they were just paying for services. But the real horror would come later. The data collected would be used to manipulate political figures, creating detailed psychological profiles of American citizens. Drug-dependent assets would emerge, people so chemically compromised they became unwitting government operatives. A shadow network of behavioral control would spread across the country, fundamentally changing the relationship between citizens and their government. Every intimate moment, every vulnerability, cataloged and weaponized. The most chilling part? Some researchers believe similar programs continued in different forms. With modern technology, such operations could be even more sophisticated today. We might never know how deep the rabbit hole really goes. Did you know that the U.S. military accidentally created one of history's worst chemical disasters while trying to clear jungle leaves? In 1965, Air Force planes began spraying Agent Orange over Vietnamese forests as part of Operation Ranch Hand. Military commanders believed they were simply removing tree cover to spot enemy soldiers hiding below. Over the next decade, they dumped 20 million gallons of herbicide across an area the size of Massachusetts. But Agent Orange contained dioxin, one of the most toxic chemicals ever created. Within months, Vietnamese civilians began developing horrific birth defects, cancers, and nerve damage. When American soldiers returned home, they suffered the same mysterious illnesses. The government denied any connection for years. Meanwhile, Monsanto and Dow Chemical knew their product was deadly, but kept producing it anyway. The truth finally emerged. Over 400,000 people died from exposure. Millions more suffered permanent health problems that passed to their children. A simple defoliation mission became chemical warfare that poisoned entire generations. The jungle grew back. The poison never left. Did you know that 23 American sailors were killed by their own country's nuclear test? On March 1, 1954, the USS Barocco sat 20 miles from Bikini Atoll, watching what they thought was a routine bomb test. The crew was told it would be small, just like the atomic test before. But Castle Bravo wasn't small at all. Instead of 6 megatons, it exploded with 15 megatons of pure destruction. The mushroom clouds stretched beyond the horizon, and radioactive coral began falling like deadly snow across their ship. Within hours, the men started vomiting blood. Their skin blistered and peeled off in sheets. Hair fell out in clumps. Internal bleeding began as their organs slowly shut down. For weeks, they died one by one from radiation poisoning. 23 sailors suffered horrible deaths while the military covered it up. The public never knew about their sacrifice. These men were killed by the very weapon they were supposed to protect. Did you know that one of Silicon Valley's most respected investors built his fortune using 2,000-year-old philosophy? Naval Ravikant arrived in America at age 9 with nothing but second-hand clothes and broken English. Kids at school mocked his accent and torn sneakers daily. While other teenagers played video games, Naval discovered Marcus Aurelius and Buddhist texts in the library. He learned that wealth wasn't about luck, but about understanding timeless principles. His first startup failed miserably, but instead of giving up, he practiced stoic detachment. The failure taught him patience and right timing. His second venture succeeded because he waited for the perfect moment to strike. Then he created AngelList, revolutionizing how startups get funded. But his biggest breakthrough was realizing that getting rich without getting lucky meant building specific knowledge and leverage. Today, he meditates every morning, reads ancient philosophy, and walks without podcasts. These simple practices gave him both millions of dollars and complete inner peace. Ancient wisdom in a modern world. Did you know that a philosopher survived Auschwitz using ancient mental techniques that he later credited for saving his life? Primo Levi discovered Marcus Aurelius before the war and memorized key passages from his writings. When the Nazis stripped away everything, he had one weapon they couldn't touch: his mind. Each morning in the camp, he practiced mental compartmentalization, separating his physical suffering from his core identity. First, he used stoic acceptance to endure the gnawing hunger, telling himself, "This pain is temporary, I am not my body." During brutal labor, he applied emotional detachment, watching his suffering as an outside observer. In the darkest moments, he reflected on philosophical truths to maintain sanity. But here's the remarkable part: he secretly taught this technique to other prisoners. Multiple people survived using his method. After liberation, he wrote that Stoic philosophy literally kept his mind intact when everything else was stripped away. The specific mental exercises he used are now taught by modern trauma therapists to PTSD patients, ancient wisdom saving lives across centuries. Did you know that a biology professor discovered her own university was secretly killing patients for money? Dr. Sarah Chen had been conducting routine lab inspections for 12 years at Memorial University. Every Tuesday, she walked through the medical research wing, checking equipment and reviewing protocols. But in March 2019, she found something that changed everything. Hidden in a locked filing cabinet were falsified consent forms and patient mortality records. 47 terminal patients had died during unauthorized drug trials over 2 years. The patients thought they were receiving legitimate treatment, but pharmaceutical companies had paid the university $12 million to test experimental drugs without proper consent. When Chen refused to stay silent, administrators threatened her tenure and research funding. She faced a choice: keep her career or expose the truth. She chose integrity, presenting evidence to federal investigators despite facing legal retaliation. Her testimony led to criminal charges against the researchers and compensation for victim families. Today, she serves as National Medical Ethics Oversight Director, proving that doing right sometimes leads to unexpected rewards. Did you know that a daycare worker discovered her workplace was selling babies for $200,000 each? Sarah Martinez had worked at Sunshine Children's Center for 3 years, caring for infants and toddlers every day. But in March 2019, she accidentally walked into the wrong wing of the building. What she found changed everything. Teenage girls, some barely 16, were locked in medical rooms, heavily pregnant and crying. She watched in horror as newborns were taken immediately after birth and handed to wealthy couples waiting in luxury cars. The daycare was just a front. These girls were being trafficked, their babies sold like merchandise. Sarah started secretly photographing payment records and documenting everything she witnessed. When the operators discovered her knowledge, they offered her $50,000 to relocate and stay quiet. Instead, she contacted the FBI with hours of recorded evidence. Her courage led to 23 pregnant women being rescued and dozens of stolen babies reunited with their mothers. Sometimes one person's bravery can save countless lives.
Your daily dose.